separate your irises right now.
What about asparagus?
You usually do it early spring or late fall on your bulbs. Well, they're sending up pretty strong flags at this point. Your irises should have flags that are about this tall. When you have a plant that's putting a lot of energy into going up, it's not time to do stuff with it. It would work, like you can do it, cut it off, but it's not you wanted to do it about a month ago.
Okay. So
Or in the
late,
fall,
you could do it in the
when
fall.
when it's getting ready to head into winter, you've cut all the flags down, go separate them and move them around. I have propagated various things by just, like grapes are really easy to propagate from just a piece of grape. Roses, someone gives you a bunch of roses and you're like, oh, those are the best roses ever. Take one of the roses out immediately, cut it on both ends and stick it in water, or stick it in a mix like this. Yeah, you don't want to wait till the flower falls off. You actually want to grab it while the flower, take it fresh and cut it. And yeah, things want to grow.
I know something about blueberries, if I can throw in.
Please.
Real quick. They send out runners, and if you separate it in the ground from the mother plant, and then let it form its own roots for a little bit, you can just pop it right up and move it.
Oh, nice. So like a raspberry, kind of. Nice. All right, good to know.
Because my grandmother used to take plant out and propagate it, stick it in water instead of sticking it in soil.
I have found that water is more problematic. You know, you have problems with various pests, molds, bacteria, and I have less issue with this. Okay, so the next step. So you've got these guys go directly to the ground. Once you've got all of your little guys stuck in here, they need to be in the dark for 4 weeks. And so you're going to take them and put like a cardboard box over them. They can be out in your garden. They can be, you know, wherever they were. They could be under your porch. They can be in your basement. But the big thing is that you don't want to expose them to any sunlight. They have to put all of their energy into forming roots for 4 weeks. And so you put them in the dark and you keep them moist. In 4 weeks, when you pull your box off and you look at it, you're going, if you can't see new growth, you'll want to actually pull it out and look and see, do you see roots on there? Is it starting to do something? And like I said, if you do it right now, you should have at least an 80% success rate. So not every single one of them is going to make it, but a lot of them will. And then at that point, you're ready to transplant it into your garden or into a pot and expose it to the sun and feed it. It needs, at that point, we are looking that you begin to feed the plant. So you do want to put it in a potting mix, soil, whatever you use to feed your plants. It needs nutrients at that point.
The 4 weeks that it's under the permafrost, how wet? Do you keep it wet frequently?
Wet. Just you do not want it to dry out. That's bad.
You don't want standing water in there, right?
You do not want standing water in there. Just moist.
Okay. And a cool basement's fine?
Yep.
Just down in the dark in the basement?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, they can even be outside. I mean, they're...
Just so long as they're dark?
Yeah. So that's it. It's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Your grandmothers probably knew how to do this. Everybody used to share plants with each other. I mean, it's not uncommon for me to walk through someone's garden and go, I want some of that. And you can understand that if you're taking little clippings like this, no one even knows you were there. I mean, you know, get yourself a good pair of pruners and just, if you can take something and you can walk back and not even tell you took something, I think all's fair. You know, the plants are here to share. I am now open to general gardening questions. The question is organic soil that's available locally. We do not have, at this point, a good soil source that I have found, and I have actively looked. We will be selling wiggle worm castings. Hopefully in the next few years we develop some soils that people will be able to purchase in smaller amounts. That we're looking at that in our farm work that we're doing. But what I've heard, I've taught a lot of classes this spring, and over and over again I'm hearing people say, I went and got compost or topsoil or something, put it on there and killed everything in their garden. And so one thing that you can do, it's called a p.e.a.c.h assay, and you just go find the source where you want to get something from, get a sample of the soil, put it in an egg carton, so you'll have 12 little units, and then get garden peas, and they can be shell peas, snap peas, snow peas. It doesn't matter what kind of pea. You put a pea in each cell, you water it, you let the plants get about this high, and you're looking to see if the plants have yellowing or curling of the leaves. Either one of those are bad. If you have a nice, green, healthy looking shoot, you're good to go.
Hanging tomatoes.
Those are great.
Are they?
Yeah.
Still.
Well, because you can put them up on a wall. I mean, you've seen the baskets where, well, it's a bag of soil, and you put the plant in the top. And for tomatoes, they, you know, generally will kind of drape down, and they're lovely, and they work really well. You just got to keep them wet. I mean, those container ones the bags tend to dry out, or you'll get it wet on top and not really have given it enough water to soak it.
Do they produce less because they're smaller? I'm looking at containers that are about 14 to 16 inches.
For a tomato, you know, I mean, it's how deep it is.
It's totally.
You know, because they want to send their roots down. We can talk a little bit about vermiculture. I mean, using worms, and worms are great because they like to eat newspaper, and they like to eat coffee grounds, and what the amendment that they create is just so fabulous to use that's another way to keep things out of the garbage, is feed it to your worm population that you bring into your household.
Are there special kinds of worms that you have to have up here? I know
Yes.
there are like a red compost worm.
Yeah.
But do they overwinter? No
They
problem?
won't overwinter outside unless they're, you know, they'd have to be on the ground and be able to go down. You generally bring them inside and have them somewhere in your house. They can get cool, but not frozen. There's a whole class I teach called Soils 101, which is what this applies to. You don't want to remove soil because it's dead. You want to get it back to life by putting compost on it. You don't take soil out and replace it. You tend the soil that you have. And once you get we have to become good at soil building. The last 100 years, we've become very good at soil eroding. You hear about dust bowls and how much the soil has blown away and gone away, and we've lost it. Well, it's time now to remember again how to live with nature, and that all your techniques that you do build soil. So this is from my front yard, and this is really lovely. You know, there's a piece of cardboard that had tape on it, so it didn't decompose. I told you I did the cardboard thing, so there's a piece of that. These are actually some pieces of, this cardboard was put down 3 years ago. Mostly it looks like soil. But you also see leaves and other things in here, and it's sweet and rich and full of all the different things that are part of the soil food web. Mycelium, bacteria, worms, bugs. You have a whole community that live in your garden with you, and feeding that community and taking care of that community is what is going to give you healthy, best tasting plants. So your soil is what is going to determine if your plants are diseased, if you're attracting the wrong kind of bugs. Your soil is everything. And so taking care of your soil, compost, and I can do a Soil 101 class. We will have other classes. It's always helpful to me if I have an idea of what it is you'd like to learn about. And so sending suggestions in is helpful. The website is www.p.e.a.c.h.local.com. And on that website will be all the various videos of the different classes, what's happening on the farm. Any educational classes that we do, we'll film them so that if you don't make it to a class, you can just go on and watch it anytime you want. Share knowledge. This is what we used to do 2 to 3 generations ago. You would grow, your grandmother would be out there, the kids would be out there with the grandmother. You'd learn to plant the tomato seed and then plant the tomato and harvest the tomato and dry the tomato and can the tomato and make tomato sauce and make tomato paste, because that's what we used to do. So we're going to learn to do that again. That's what we're doing. Hi, darling. Oh, thanks, guys. Thank you for being here and learning to do this and go grow food.
Steady living is easy to define. Steady living bring you peace of mind. Would you ever trip my line? Steady living a change of lifestyle.